Hi everybody and welcome to At the Sharp End, a weekly business show where we talk about topics that we've encountered with our clients or just topics in general that affect the small business community. And today we're talking about where's my ROI, specifically in respect of how do you get ROI out of your marketing spend. And an expert on that, guru, is our own head of marketing, Mr. Haroon Rashid. Welcome, Haroon.
You called me a guru. I can't believe it. Hello.
And to our regular listeners and watchers, you'll know that talking about social media and marketing gurus is a bit of a topic of ours. It's something we don't particularly like, so that's just me needling Haroon in the ribs a little bit and saying, hey, you know, you're good enough to be a swami or something. So Haroon, a question we get asked a lot is, you know, for the impact that we want for our business, online marketing, how much do we need to spend to get that impact? What's the return going to be on the investment we're going to make? And what are your opening thoughts on that?
First of all, that ROI is actually return on investment, not influence, which is the crap that a lot of social media gurus, not myself, other gurus will say. So the first thing is to talk about what ROI is actually, because this whole return on influence thing is creeping in, isn't it?
It is indeed, and it's you know, it's being used, I think, because ROI is a particularly difficult phrase to quantify, especially for something like marketing, where you've got to do actions and you've got spend to make, but the actual impact and leads and sales that you're going to make as a result of it are sometimes a little bit difficult to track and measure. So I really, yeah, thanks for clarifying that it's return on investment, that's money spent, not return on influence.
Totally. And then, like, I think that a lot of companies will shy away from that because we've called them social media hippies. All these people, they don't talk about finances because in reality they're crap at making money themselves. So I think that it's really important to just clarify what that's about. But then we've dealt with a lot of clients ourselves with regards to ROI, fine. But I think there's a major misconception here when it comes to ROI because people think that there's a magic number. They'll say, well, how much do I have to invest to get my return? And it doesn't always work like that. It just depends on your industry, how much time, effort, money, all these variables, and these all come into play, and it's different for everybody. But then there's another thing as well, which we're going to talk about, I'm sure, that it's not just about whoever you outsource this to. There's some more factors, and there's a lot of responsibility from yourselves that has to take place in order to get that ROI.
So let's start off then, because you're making a really good point there, and the key thing is marketing is not a commodity, right? So there's lots of people sell marketing, but it's not. There's no magic formula that you can say, right, okay, if I pull these levers, I go on these channels, and I press these buttons, that I'm going to make X pounds, dollars, euros, whatever it is. Just doesn't work like that. So where would you start, Haroon? What's a good place to start to make sure that you do get a good ROI as opposed to a poor ROI?
Ooh, okay. Well, maybe if we do it this way, because we had this conversation with a potential client fairly recently, and they were asking us exactly the same question. Come on, guys, how much do we have to put in? When are we going to get the ROI? What can we expect? And there's just no way you can answer that. But what we said back to them was, okay, well, if you put in X amount of money, as our other clients have done, you'll see an increase in traffic, you'll see an increase in social media followers and inquiries, blah, blah, blah. Typically, we've seen that in the first 3 to 6 months for our clients. Some it's taken a bit longer, some it's been a lot quicker. But here's the point. Why is there a varying time scale for all these different clients? And it actually comes down to you. It comes down to how invested are you in this? Because we've had other clients as well, and I've had this in a previous business that I used to have, where someone will just say, all right, I'm going to give you a bit of money, all right, go and make it happen. And it doesn't work. There has to be some responsibility, some involvement from the client as well.
Can I throw in a great phrase that we get all the time then.
Yeah.
Well, I'm paying you to do all of this. I'm outsourcing all of this to you. Just do it. And there's no responsibility there, and there's no ownership there if that's the key. And that's why we focus on training, isn't it? So because we want that participation. Absolutely. And we think it's key that our clients know, they always know their business better than we will ever know their business. So we think it's key that they take ownership and participate in the marketing. So we train them to do that.
Absolutely. The training program shows people why we're doing it in a certain way. And if they've got an idea themselves, they're empowered to then go and implement that idea. But it's about them taking responsibility for their own company. And friggin' hell, that should be the way it's supposed to be, right? I mean, why would you just give someone a load of money just to kind of represent you out there in the marketplace? It doesn't make sense to me. Yes, they should have an involvement and they should be doing some stuff behind the scenes, but ultimately people need to take responsibility for their own company. And I think people are losing that a bit. What do you reckon?
I do, and I think that maybe it comes from the more traditional marketing where it's quite customary to employ a PR agency to do all your relationships with magazines or newspapers or other media channels. Mm. But with online, it's far more in your control and gives you the ability. But you know, people always say, well, I'm too busy, I can't create that content, I can't do this, I can't do that. If you've got a plan, a strategy, and you know what you're trying to achieve, then it should be a partnership with the media agency that you're using to make sure that what you're creating is getting the attraction and it's getting the engagement, but actually you know how to do it. And the ideas are coming from you, from within your business, because you're talking about what problems and needs that you're solving for your clients, right, Haroon?
Totally. I mean, I'll give you two examples of some customers on opposite ends of the spectrum. One client was, both of these have gone through the training program that we have, the marketing training that we do. One client really took on board everything. They got the staff involved. Everyone knew what the vision was, and they went as far as to create their own video studio downstairs. I mean, you know, these guys build flat pack furniture. And it sounds like a boring business, and maybe it is, but they really took this content thing really seriously. They took a person who they'd had as an accountant or a bookkeeper or whatever it was, made her the marketing intern, gave her the responsibility, empowered her. She went through the training. They were creating loads of content. It's even helped them develop their franchisee business, which is a national UK franchisee business. So that's an example of one company who just said, we've gone through the training, we've made an investment, but guess what? It's up to us, though, to make it happen. As opposed to some other companies, and I'm using the plural there, where they'll go, well, what am I paying you for? And it's like, no. You are paying us to do something, but ultimately it's your responsibility to get your staff on board to do this. That's leadership, man. And I think ROI is rooted in leadership.
Well, I agree, and it's not just in leadership, it's about engagement with your business, isn't it? You know, Some people like to do the job that they're employed to do, whether that's logistics or whatever it is. Other people like to get engaged at all levels and actually take control of where their business is going. And the companies and clients who are successful are the ones who really engage. Grab hold of it, understand it, start to understand the terms and what happens, what all those measurements mean, because we have a very test, measure and adapt methodology, which once we've started to build that strategy and that media plan, then that test, measure and adapt comes into its own, because it helps you identify what your clients want and what engages them best.
Absolutely. I mean, there'll be people who are watching this show right now who are going, well, that's rubbish. If I pay you a load of money, then you should be able to get the ROI for me. But it's like, well, actually, you know what? It's a lot different than that, because at the end of the day, if your staff aren't engaged or you haven't got control of your staff, don't blame us. That's a leadership issue right there. I mean, this is the thing, like, those guys who built the studio, I didn't ask them to do that. No. The people who are creating that video content, who are working outside of 9 to 5, they're doing that off their own back. Not because I told them to, but because someone in that company took leadership, took responsibility.
Actually, they're a very good management team as well. So, you know, using that company as an example, they're very engaged with the staff. They're all over their numbers. You know, the business runs like clockwork. Okay, every business has issues, but they're on it. They deal with it. They've got very strong sales, very strong back office, and so they've got lots and lots of ideas. They just didn't know how to use the channels and how to plan it. So once they'd gone through the training and they understood that, they were engaged on another level, and that's really shown up in their content marketing and how they're now driving leads.
And having an attitude like that, and I stress the word attitude or a mindset like that, means you're going to achieve your ROI in there's a better chance of you achieving your ROI in a much shorter space of time, you know.
So my biggest warning when I talk to a client is when you talk to the MD and the MD says, "Oh yeah, I want to employ you to do it first and foremost," and I'm thinking about the words "to do it" because they're automatically devolving responsibility, and then they say within their company, so and so and so and so, so X and Y are now responsible. They've got full authority. They can sign it off. I can absolutely guarantee that is not true. Okay, so that MD has devolved responsibility from his own marketing, but then, and this happens a lot, by the way. So he's devolved responsibility. He's made it the responsibility of an external party and 2 junior members of staff. So the junior members of staff work with the external third party. They generate content. They may even release content because they've been authorized to do so. And then what happens? Invariably, the guy, and it is usually a guy who's authorized it, turns around and says, "I don't like that." Or, worse still, "I didn't authorize that."
Yeah.
And you go, okay, your leadership is weak there. You've not made it very clear. You've actually said you've given responsibility over to other people, but when it comes to the crunch, you want to take responsibility yourself without actually taking responsibility. So that's where the participation part comes in, isn't it?
Totally, and we've seen that problem just with a variety of industries and lots of different companies, and you know, from your smaller companies to your bigger multi-million-pound companies. It's a mindset thing, and it's that taking responsibility for your own company. And to be fair, I mean, we always encourage the managing directors or the board to be involved with it, because at the end of the day, it's their company. It's how you're portraying yourself out there in the world. So surely the head of the company should be involved with that. You know, he might not be doing the content creation as such, but but damn well better be signing stuff off.
Hey, look, I'm here creating content with you. You know, we're both running our own departments, and I'm the head of the company. So
absolutely. I mean, look, you got your own show. You got your blog and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you do. Yeah, but I mean, like you're a busy guy, but you understand. I mean, let's bring it home to Khemeia, because people go, well, you don't know what it's like. Well, okay, we actually do, because we've got our own shows. We've got a very active blog. We're creating content. We release things about maybe 6 to 8 times a week. It's not like we're just sat here not doing anything. Well,
yeah, but there are 20 of us, right?
No, how many of us are there? 4 of us.
Yeah, exactly. 4 of us.
4 of us. And hey, you know, and
an intern. Don't forget the intern.
And an intern. And who doesn't just make coffee? In fact, I don't think he's ever made me a cup of coffee. But anyway.
Here's a tip for you. Don't let him. He's not very good at it. He needs lots of practice.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
But the fact that a 4-man, 5-man group of guys could do as much content as what we have and still do our client stuff and still go and do business development and networking and all the other day-to-day stuff that goes along with it. You know,
so let's come back to that, Haroon. How do we schedule and plan that? But first of all, this is At the Sharp End, brought to you by the Khemeia Network. I'm Ian Sharp, and I've got Haroon Rashid guesting on our show today. And we're talking about return on investment, particularly to do with marketing your company. And next, Haroon, we're going to talk about how we plan and segment our marketing so that we make time to do it, right?
Yeah, well, first of all, and again, it comes back to that mindset, is that every guy in Khemeia, I'll use it as an example, every guy in Khemeia understands that content is important to the degree that when there's content creation time, we put it in our calendars. Like, for example, on my show, it's on at Wednesday morning, but I don't schedule anything else in on Wednesday morning. Everybody knows Haroon has got the show, don't bother him, unless it's life or death or whatever. So we place an importance on the content. Second of all, we have a content plan. And this is what we teach our clients. We have a content plan, we have a calendar, an editorial calendar, and everybody knows what's happening, when it's happening, and we get it out there. The next thing is consistency. Everybody's good at planning, but it's actually the implementation that's the problem, and doing that consistently, which is really a problem for people. So
I'm so glad you didn't say execution.
I know, I I was going to say it. Culture of implementation.
Yeah.
That's going to come in.
Delivery. Just think about delivery.
Yeah. But that's how we do it, and it's not a secret. Everybody actually knows this, and it's so simple. But actually doing it is a mindset thing, and we place a massive importance on mindset.
So let's talk about the benefit of having the content plan, right? So we typically talk to one another a few days before the show. When we do that, we share what the title of the show is about. So what's the theme? What's the content? We might have done some little bits of research, or we might have read something in the press recently that we think is pertinent, and we might want to bring that in. Or we want to relate it, like we have today, to some particular stories. We have a short chat, 5 or 10 minutes about that, and then the rest of the prep time is 5 or 10 minutes before we go live. And that's just so we're comfortable, we do the technical checks. Sometimes it messes up like it did today, so we're late today, but hey, we're doing the show. We've made the time, we've been out, done our meetings, come back, and now we're doing the show. So we've juggled our schedule around, but we've put importance on the content.
Yeah.
That is, if you do the little bit of prep beforehand, you've got your content themes already written down, then it's not actually difficult to start and do your own content, whether that's writing a blog or doing a video blog as we are now, or other little bits of posts and content. Right, Haroon? All that preparation, those snippets of 10 minutes here and there make a massive difference.
Totally, and people were going, well, what's that got to do with ROI? It's got everything to do with ROI. We're outlining in detail what the system is for us. If you just blog or do a video once in a blue moon, and I mean like once a month, don't expect to see any ROI anytime soon. I mean, you're looking at doing at least 3 to 4 pieces a week. A week.
So let's reference, because there's not just us saying that, let's reference some of the other stars of the internet. Not saying we're stars of the internet. Well, you might be star of the internet, Haroon, I'm not. Let's reference some of the stars of the internet. So Neil Patel of Kissmetrics, he always says, right, it's all about the quality of your blog, it's all about the quality of your content. And while you're building followers, forget about the ROI. It's a lot of hard work. You need to put a lot of content out there. And he's actually, if you look on Kissmetrics, I'm sure we can put some details in the show notes. Yeah. He's got figures in there for what sorts of conversion you might get for type of blogging frequency. No, he doesn't talk about blogging content because that's particular to your audience. So he doesn't know what your content needs to be. He knows what his content is very well. And so Neil can grow a blog massively, and he's done this 3 or 4 times for his own companies, but he's also consulted to quite a lot of the big companies. But the key thing is, it's participation, and it's sharing the action, and it's making sure you're consistent and regular. And if you do all of those things, it will take some time, but as you grow and you build your followers, you'll find that there are thresholds. You get above 200 followers, and suddenly, poof, you seem to be gathering followers at a rate of knots. What were you at, Haroon, when you had to turn your phone off because you were getting so many notifications?
For Twitter, probably around about 800 followers. I mean, it's interesting that you said that because I've just fairly recently got my first 1,000 Twitter followers, and people go, I thought you had, why haven't you got 1,000 Twitter followers already? I thought you were a social media guru. And I'm thinking, actually, and people say to me, well, I've got 1,000 Twitter followers. Yeah, but you're following 2,500.
Yeah, yeah. There's a total imbalance so your 1,000 are not paid for, so there's no paid followers on there. You've not gone out and just arbitrarily followed millions of people or thousands of people, as many as Twitter would allow. We're actually doing it organically, strategically, so the quality of the followers are pertinent to us and our business, because we want those people to be interested and engaged, right?
Totally. And I'm only following about 260 odd at the time of this video. I've got over 1,000 followers, so the ratio is very good. Most of the people I follow are celebrities, my favorite TV shows, things like that, and people who I really like in the business community and all that. But it took me a good few years to get to that level. So things of value take time. We've always said this, and even for YouTube, I'm really pleased that. Okay, it took a while for us to get our first 1,000 views, on the Khemeia Marketing channel. Now we get over 1,000 a month, but it took time and consistency and the planning that goes behind it. It doesn't just happen. Success. We all know success doesn't just happen. It's an intentional thing that you've got to do.
Well, it's like anything, isn't it? And I've been drumming this into my kids recently. Everything that you do that you want to be good at, you've got to practice, and practice. And if you keep doing that, and you learn from your lessons, you learn from the mistakes that you make, you keep practicing, you get there. You will get there, as long as you put the time in. And my youngest is reading like mad now. She's reading through books, and she's, can I get another book? Can I get another book? Can I get another book? And if you apply that to the rest of your life, it's actually a pretty good lesson. If you can find it interesting and motivating, then get involved, participate, engage, and you'll see the results. It might take a while, but you'll see the results. A bit like your bodybuilding, right, Haroon?
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably put the video in the show notes or whatever. But I have a very popular slide of a guy with a six-pack, and we just talk about, he didn't always, do this sort of stuff. But I say, he's a guy with a six-pack, really great body, okay, fine. And I said to the audience, he didn't always look like that, did he? And they're like, oh, no, he didn't. I'd say he didn't come out of the womb like that, but he had to do the same thing again and again and again consistently over a period of time till he got his ROI, which was a six-pack.
Do you know, I'm just going to change the topic slightly, but it's really relevant to this. Whenever you talk about Thomas Edison, Edison said it was 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. And if there's one thing that epitomizes the number of inventions and innovations that he came up with, it's the consistency and persistence of trying. He didn't find 200 ways, he didn't fail 200 times to make a light bulb. He found 200 ways that didn't work properly, so he continued to try until he found the right one that made a light bulb that lasted and was convenient to use. And you can apply that to so many inventors. It's that having that vision and actually being persistent about getting there.
Totally. And I think this is a hard show to watch for some people, because a lot of what we're saying about ROI is dependent on the audience member.
It's on you, right?
On you.
Sorry, Haroon, if I'm pointing at you there, but
well, it's partly the company that you give the work to. Yes, okay, they need to be good. They need to know what they're doing. Absolutely, but if you are hindering, the consistency, and if you haven't got that leadership, it's just not going to work. So I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on you, the viewer, to be able to allow this to happen. So I mean, if anybody did contact us, and we've done this in the past and we'll continue to do it in the future, when people ask us about ROI, we say, actually, it comes down to how much do you really care about your business? How much are you willing to do? How much are you willing to sacrifice? It's not about, well, is it going to take me 4 years to do this? No. It's how much are you willing to put into this thing? Because it's a two-way thing.
So to quantify that, Haroon, and bring it back to the original question, which is, how do I get my ROI on marketing? The answer is, there is no straight answer. But it's not just about the amount of money that you pay a third party. It's also about the amount of time and effort, the salary investment that your team and you make in your marketing plan. And if you can do that, actually, your marketing will absolutely fly. You'll understand it, you'll enjoy it. Haroon's great at training people and making it simple, straightforward, and what's the other one?
Fun. Yay!
Yeah, simple, straightforward, and fun. Lots of our clients enjoy the training program, and I think it's not stilted. It's not, it's very fresh. It's very relevant. We talk about new techniques. We talk about stuff that works, and we try stuff all the time. So you can pretty much guarantee we're not experimenting with you. We're experimenting with you on things we've already tried out for ourselves.
That's important for us, I think. I mean, I always say to people, we will never ask them to do something that we've not tried ourselves. I think that there's a lot of agencies out there who don't practice what they preach.
Absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, how many times do you see the full service marketing agency that really look like a branding and web development agency, and when you look at their online presence, it's actually woefully lacking.
Oh yeah, and even like consistency of their blog. I just recently on well, I won't say where. Just recently, I connected with somebody who was a digital marketing consultant. They didn't have a blog. Digital marketing consultant telling people to create content, and you don't have a blog, not even a video channel, nothing. It was just like, and it was engaging with people, talking to people. Ugh.
Really?
I'm too tired to even have a rant today.
Now that's a rare thing, right? Because you love a good rant. As we all do.
Hashtag Haroon's rants.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think we should wrap it up there. We've summarised what ROI is. It's all about not just the money you spend with third parties, but it's about your engagement, your staff engagement, and following your plan, being consistent and getting out there. So I hope you've enjoyed the show. We've had a little bit of a rant between us, I think, about various topics there. If that company sounds like you and you want to change the way you do things, please get in touch with us. You can find our contact details below or on our blog. Yes, we do have one. And we look forward to seeing you again. Haroon, thanks a lot for being on the show once again. It's really been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Okay, bye folks. See you next time.